Good morning, honorable members. Am I audible, honorable members? Good morning.
Yes, Secretary, you are audible. Good morning to you.
Thank you, Honorable Maicho. Honorable members, I just received a call from Chair. He's just a little bit delayed. He's just requesting 5 minutes. The bus has just arrived in Para. He's trying to connect. He says just in 5 minutes he'll be in the platform. Thank you, members. Is that clear, members?
It seems
Yes,
the one.
very clear.
Yeah. No, thank you, Chair. Sorry, the whip.
Thank you, honorable members.
What's happening?
Chair is gonna join now, Honorable Bagram. He was just delayed, but he just told me that he's trying to join now.
And morning, I'm battling to type, but I'll be in and out of the meeting. It's Desiree van der Walt. I'm in between both my meetings because of the BRRR. So if I'm not in here, I'm on the other one, trying to catch up.
Thank you, Honorable van der Walt. I'll let the chairperson know.
Thank you.
Hi, Des.
Morning, Bags. We'll speak after the meeting. I'm trying to really join both. They're both important today.
Perfect, no problem.
Thanks.
Are you in now?
Yes, morning, Chair. We can hear you.
Okay, all right. Sincere apologies. I was trying to connect with the laptop with a delayed transport. May I just check if we have got the necessary quorum so as to proceed?
Yes, Chair, we have enough members. I've got some apologies, though.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Greetings, honorable members. Greetings to civil society organizations. I've seen PFGs on the platform. Greetings to fellow South Africans who are following deliberations of this committee on platforms made possible by Parliament. We are convened as the Portfolio Committee on Employment and Labour in the National Assembly. And in this regard, we are binded by the rules of the National Assembly on meetings convened on this platform. We're scheduled to start at 9:30. Of course, there's been a delay to allow connectivity. I've indicated to the secretary, and maybe that we now have the numbers to.
Recording in progress.
Just to remind ourselves, honorable members, of the rules of engagement on this platform, that at all times we are expected to mute our mics, switch on the video camera until at a time when you are recognized by the chairperson to speak. In that score, you then proceed to unmute your mic, switch on your video camera, so that those that are following deliberations could also see the face of members that participating in the meeting. However, understanding that there may be connectivity challenges, and therefore a member would ask for permission of the chair to switch off the video camera so as to maximize your bandwidth and be able to proceed to participate in the meeting. From time to time, there will be probably those that lose connectivity and have to reconnect to the proceedings of the meeting. Please ensure at all times as you reconnect that your video camera is switched off and that your mic is muted, as mic is sensitive and could therefore pick up background sounds that could distract the speaker that may platform at the time or distract the meeting itself. Honorable members, the rules do make provision for point of orders to be raised by members. In that case, members are advised to raise their hands using the gadget. And in a situation where the chair is unable to see that, the committee support will then help the chair to identify that hand. Once identified, you will then proceed at that point to unmute your mic, switch on your video camera, and proceed to raise the point of order on which the chairperson could rule upon in terms of the rules. For further advice and guided that not to raise unnecessary point of orders on this platform to a point where the meeting itself collapses. Of course, these are just reminders, honorable members, so as for us to have qualitative engagements in the meeting following the rules. Having said that, and having been guided that we do have the quorum to proceed, we'll then proceed to dispense again with the other formalities of the meeting, which will be to get any applications for leave of absence or apologies that the committee support would have received.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, and good morning to all the members. Chair, I have received an apology from Honorable Zungula, who is attending the health, committee today, but he did indicate that he will be joining the late session that starts at 9 for the adoption. Also, Honorable van der Walt, who is in the platform, but she mentioned that she will be in and out as she is also dealing with the same item of BRRR in another committee. She will just move in and out of committees. Thank you, Chair. Those are the two.
Thank you, Mr. Sagasa. Before we approve those apologies, may I just check if there are other apologies that members may have received which could not be recorded with the committee support staff, so that we place that on record. Are there any other apologies? It would appear that there are no apologies. So in that score, we'll then proceed as the committee support would putting up the agenda. The agenda in the main is 2 items, and just to guide the meeting, that there is a Q3 report and a BRRR report. The Q3 report should indeed be preceding the BRRR, as you'd know that one represents the annual report, which takes into account the work done in all 4 quarters, whilst Q3 would be just about Q3 that we have already processed. So we'd look at that report for adoption of the committee and then get to the BRRR report, which is the first draft, and members would have had an opportunity of going through it. This then presents an opportunity for members to make corrections, in particular focus to the observations and recommendations that we would take to the House, that they are reflected accordingly, and where we need to make additions, we do so, and then allow the committee support to go back, effect changes if there are changes, so that later in the evening we are able to adopt the actual report with the corrections that we would have made. So I just thought it's important that we clarify that order first, but secondly, the purpose of each item that's on the agenda. Let me also use this opportunity, members, to further clarify that in the course of doing our oversight work, we would have also raised the need to get some information with regard to the unlisted investments, whether it is the compensation fund or the UIF. And I'm aware that members would have received such information. And that information at this point is not the item on the agenda. It is meant for members to process. And I'm sure honorable members would then agree, especially those who have had the opportunity of looking at those reports, that in the presentation of the information is not user-friendly in terms of what we asked for as the status report, where we need to get a sense in each of those, what would be the company, what would be the money invested, but what has also been promised as jobs to be created, and whether those would have been attained, and whether that company is still operational as we speak, and that they honor their commitments in terms of whatever needs to be paid back, if there's paybacks to do, by ensuring that such jobs are created. And you remember, honorable members, these are the investments that have caused a bit of problems, even from the point of the Auditor General reports. So we are indicating then at this point that yes, received, but we may need those to be quite refined, so that the information presented should help us as members to interpret it properly and make proper recommendations ourselves once that opportunity comes for us to discuss such items. So if you have not received it, it will still not be transmitted, but I've got confirmation that emails were sent to members just to share the information as we asked for it. But like I say, not really user-friendly for us to apply our minds properly. So we'll handle it in that way. So you may have to get revised information that gives us further notes to look at per company that has been assisted in that scope. So I just thought let's get all those out of the way as we look at the two items before us. Of course, I do learn from what was raised in the previous meeting when we were dealing even with minutes, that we must make the correct assumption that members have processed the reports, and that where they have got matters to raise, they will do so. However, for purposes of ensuring that the public also follows what we are dealing with, will be a bit in the scrolling of reports, a bit quicker as it relates to the body of the report, slack a bit as it gets to the observations of the committee, just to be sure that we agree on those, as well as the recommendations before we get the report to be adopted. So we'll do the same when we deal with the other report too of the BRRR, even though it's a draft report. So that would really be my opening guidance as the chair in terms of how we are approaching the agenda today. I take it that Committee Secretary, you will be ready to flight the reports. Like I said, we start from Q3 in terms of the order, so that we dispense with it and then get to the first draft for the BRRR that takes into account even what happened in Q3 in that school. I'm not sure if honorable members are able to see the flighted one on the side so that we proceed. Honorable members.
Yes, you can see it, Honorable Chair. In fact, I can see, maybe someone doesn't see it. Just a correction.
Yes, I also enable. Yes.
I can confirm that I can see, Honorable Chair.
Okay. Part of it is also to test if still in the same platform with members because of connectivity issues. So we allow, if members have got issues on a particular page, they will indicate. We'll slow a bit when you get to observations and recommendations. We are now on the observations. Like I said, we'll take it slow there. Starting with the department. Can move. Okay, move. Move. Given that there's no point raised on observations, we now move to the committee recommendations. Honorable members, that's the quarterly report of the committee. Then I see there's a hand of Honorable Background. I'm not sure if you want to raise a point on the recommendations. Honorable Background.
Thank you. If I may, can I go ahead, Chair?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah,
proceed.
one of the recommendations I wanted to make, and I know we're going to have problems with finances. There's not enough money ever for each portfolio, but so we're probably not going to get more monies in the medium-term budget for the Department of Employment and Labour. And one of the recommendations I want to make, which goes in line with 5.7 for the CCMA, is to possibly look at realigning the monies that go to dysfunctional entities within the department. In other words, SEEs are servicing very few people. They don't need that amount of money. I don't know, we don't see much results. We don't see much results from Productivity SA. And I was hoping that the department itself can relook at what they do for the public and see if they could realign some of the monies to go to entities that are needed, like the CCMA, which is the jewel in the crown of the Department of Labour. But even NEDLAC might need more money, because we're going now into, as we heard, we're going into a time now where there's going to be major changes to our labour law. I think they've made something like 27 different proposals for changes to the law, and if they could get proper functioning and better budget would be better. So what I'm really looking for is not demanding more money for the Department of Employment and Labour, but asking the department itself to realign itself. It's difficult to word that, but that's a suggestion from my side. I hope it finds some sort of favour with the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Beckheim. Just remember, when we deal with, we're still dealing with quarter 3 report.
Yeah.
When we deal with BRRR, please support that recommendation, because I think it's also there.
Okay, I'm happy.
We'll note that. Yeah.
I'm happy. Thank you, Chair.
Honourable Konto.
Thank you, Chair.
Then before yes.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair, honourable members and colleagues. Chair, is it possible, I don't know from which report, for us to get an official update about the EU filing? As last time we were told about the court cases and so forth. I think, Chair, we must get an official update as to exactly what is going on now in as far as EU filing is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Konto. I'll respond to that quickly. Honorable Mbele, then Honorable Nanzele would be last.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Mbele, I don't hear you. Honorable Mbele.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, better now. You are back.
Yes. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Chairperson. First, let me submit my apology. Actually, our apology as MK that we joined the meeting late because we thought maybe it's 10 o'clock. I think it was my mistake that I have communicated with my colleague. Yeah, but nevertheless, Chair, I've got an interest on the issues that was just raised now by the leader in terms of the SA, what is it? Productivity SA. That as far as I'm concerned, on my side, I think the productivity SA, we need to support it because it deals directly with the challenges within the community. So I'm sorry, I know I might be out of order because I might not be with the sequence of the agenda. But I just heard him, and then now it became a part of my interest to make sure that at least I voice out that we need to support the productivity SA, and even in terms of the budget for that matter. Thank you so much.
Honorable Mbele, Honorable Nanzele. Yeah, that's.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and good morning to you and honorable members. Honorable Chair, I think the point I wanted to raise is with regard to the CCMA, particularly with regard to the funding. I think Honorable Begram has covered me in some respect, except to say the point of funding should in fact be argued not against a particular entity, but rather to mobilize all the parties in support of a more appropriate funding for CCMA. Because as Honorable Begram would recall that we have even during the past administration been engaged in tough discussion to try to secure more funding for CCMA. The central issues, Chair, that motivate us to do that is basically that the CCMA is in fact the last resort for the defense of all the sectors, in particular the vulnerable sectors, where you, in many respects, you would not find a strong union representation. And in that sense, if, for instance, the measures that were designed or proposed then, that meant that some form of levy would have to be introduced for services rendered to those who can afford, it became a difficulty for us to support that. And hence we insisted that the entity should in fact be appropriately funded, given that we have a clear understanding and appreciation of its mandate, so that it is able to fully discharge its function. In that regard, Chair, I think the formulation, therefore, that we should explore ways in which the entity can be adequately funded to avoid compromising the service delivery is an appropriate one, and that we should in fact not counterpose that at the same time to other entities, particularly the one that has people, unfortunately, Honorable Begram uses another entity that we are in fact struggling as a point of view, we're struggling to get it funded as well. That is the SEE. So I would make that submission, Chair, both in support of what an agreement with what is proposed as a formulation, but also in agreement with the Honorable Begram, but less the SEE, which itself needs to be supported so that it is in fact able to discharge its function, that is of empowering people living with disabilities. Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Lonsen. Honorable members, I want to guide again that we are dealing with the Q3 report. And I know because we have processed both reports, it's very easy to conflict the two. That necessarily there are no points raised in terms of correction on this. And that when we get to the BRRR report, which should really be also about the impact we need to make on the budgeting that comes. We are able to come back to these important points. As I say, having processed it, you would see that some of those recommendations may be there. Probably we may need to come out more clearer on them. Otherwise, there's the support right even from at the time we're engaging in the oversight itself. So when we get to this next report, let's just keep that in mind. So I want us to really dispense with the Q3 report and get to then the actual discussions on the BRRR report, and the recommendations would be then taken to the House, which may also look at those budget implications that the department must look at. So with that having been said, honorable members, allow me to ask for at least a mover and a seconder once I've responded to Honorable Mkondo, because hers was just a question as to which report we use in this regard, and that we must get this official briefing on the U-filing issue. I think the point really is that today's meeting, as you'll be aware, it's a committee meeting. We're considering reports of this committee. So it's our reports that are before us. The only thing we can do, if I were to use the word official that Honorable Mkondo would have raised, is what we said previously, that some of these things, especially those that affect people directly there, we may not need to wait for portfolio committee meeting, but we can get those in writing from the department to brief us so that we send the same message out there on what exactly the situation is. So in this regard, comment from the office that would make that follow up immediately after the meeting, that we may need to get that official position. Is it now working? If there are issues where the issues are, and that info can then be circulated to members in the same way that you received the other information, which is not on the agenda as we speak. So that will be the ruling, honorable members, in this regard. So can we get a mover and a seconder? Honorable BRRR, I hope that's a legacy hand, because I've made a ruling that we conclude on Q3 and get to the actual discussions as we did with the BRRR report.
Thank you, Chair. It's not a legacy hand in that I just wanted to answer the question that was asked about the UIF problems, but you apparently going to answer that anyway. The Minister has put out a statement.
Right. No, I think what we are saying is that we can follow it up. If the statement is adequate, I'm sure not everyone has seen that. We'll then make sure that that is
okay. No problem.
But it has no harm in us getting it straight from the ministry, that this is where things are as we speak. Be it as it may be, can I then get honorable members a mover and seconder for the report? Honorable Donzele.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I move for the adoption of the report.
Move for adoption. I see Honorable Kopane. You are muted.
Thank you, Chair. I second Honorable Nonzele on the adoption of the report.
So the report is moved and seconded. Any objection as adopting the quarterly report? No objection. Then the report is agreed to. Would you then commit support flight the actual BRRR first draft report? As I indicated earlier, honorable members, we make the reasonable assumption that you actually process the report, so to move a bit quicker on the body of the report and get to be a bit slower as we get to the observations of the committee and the recommendations thereof. Honorable members, we are now on committee observations. Before we move to committee recommendations, before we get there, let me then check if there are members who would want to make inputs on committee observations. I see Honorable Notsende's hand is up on observations. Honorable Notsele, you are recognized. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks. Good morning again to you and honorable members. Honorable Chair, I think it's just an appreciation of the observations made. But however, the area of concern on my part is just an overarching principle that one wants to raise, that where there is an observation, obviously, I know that there would be not an immediate or direct recommendation relating to that, because some of the observations may be, in fact, be of general nature and do not necessarily need to be reformulated as part of the recommendations. But my observation is that some of the observations are quite substantive, Chair. And when I want this to be noted so that when we go into recommendations, we pay attention to it, that this observation get lost when we come to recommendations. So I want just to raise that principle. Hence, I'm saying that let me just raise it up front so that when we go into recommendation, we should understand the logic that comes with trying to align what has already been raised from observation and what the recommendations contain. Thank you, Chair. I'm done, Chair.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Ntsele. May I just check if there's any other member who would want to talk to the part on observations before I come in? Yeah, if not, I think there's something there, and if covered, you'd indicate, because I've tried to see if it's put back and I couldn't. In that we have met the Auditor General before. We made commitments with regard to some of the points that were raised, in particular about what the committee needs to focus on. And others where observations were made that were related that recommendation, which we called the Hollywood situation, would need to come, but having made that observation first, in line with what Honorable Nansela said about looking at the observation and then a recommendation where necessary, is about filling of vacancies, both in the department and the entity. In that score, we have observed that there are quite a number of acting positions, both in the department and the entity, as we receive the presentations. And that when we get to the recommendation, we would, as committed, that the minister should really look at filling all positions, especially those that are budgeted for, you know, and then report back to the committee in that regard. So that's one. The second one would relate to, which is still also in the department, the matters that relates to the financial losses in the TERS payments by UIF, which the department must also be monitoring overall. So I can make the submission again writing, because I've tried to write the notes in this regard. Under the supported employment enterprise, SEE, just a point there that we should be able to come back even when we get to the recommendation. The last one, the entities facing areas of non-performance and financial challenges which are significant obstacles to its operations, effectiveness and financial stability. That when we get to the recommendations, we should keep that observation in mind. But the most proposal is this overarching one about critical vacancies. So if we can note that before we get to the recommendations. But as I say, honorable members, because that's in writing, so one would be able to send it through, but I just thought it's important to raise it in the meeting, because we know about it. In fact, we have raised it every time we met them, that the presenter is an acting and the other one is acting. And we said that must be resolved, so should reflect that. I will now then move to the recommendations, if there are no further issues on observations. The recommendations, of course, taking into account what Honorable Nonzela has raised about trying to align the recommendations to some of the observations that have been made. It may not be a direct one-on-one point. In some situations, 3 recommendations may still be speaking to that observation. I think that will help us when we trace our feedback from the ministry, that we can relate to what we observed and what we recommended as an action required. Get to recommendations. Scroll to recommendations. We're at number 10 on recommendations. Starting with the department. I see then Honorable Manzele. The Honorable Manzele are recognized.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. Thanks also for
Honorable Konto, you'll be second. Yes, you can proceed, Honorable Manzele.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks also for the insights you have shared, particularly with regard to the areas that talk to the observations and the gaps that we have filled. I would also follow that up with regard to 10.1, that is on the department itself. and propose a reformulation of 20.1, 1, 2, and 3, so that we have a flow that speaks to the broad principles that we have raised, particularly the areas that talks to our commitments and agreement with the Office of the Auditor General regarding ensuring accountability, both financially and also administratively within the department. The first point would be then to say at 10.1.1 that there should be discipline in ensuring that accurate and complete financial and performance records are maintained. I would read my notes so that if there is an agreement, then I can then forward to the secretary for recording. And then on 10.1.2, the proposed formulation would read as follows: that the needs analysis should be performed before software licenses are procured. The issue here relates to our experience and the debate we had, particularly the serious concern raised by the AG's office with regard to ongoing procurement of ICT instruments within the department that later on proved ineffectual and unhelpful to the work of the department. And then on 10.1.3, then it would read, the accounting officer should act swiftly on the material irregularities notification to ensure that public funds are recovered, internal controls are strengthened, and consequence management is implemented. And these are the critical areas, Chair, that again were raised by the Office of the Auditor General with regard to the outcomes, including the engagements we had. I would move further from 1.4, 10.14 to 10.1.5, which would read as follows. To resolve the issue of delayed payments, the department should adopt electronic invoicing, automate processing, and ensure that staff are trained on prompt payment regulation. And then on the 10.1.6, it would read, implement a comprehensive training program for procurement officials to ensure that they understand and correctly apply the preference point system as required in terms of triple PFA and the Treasury regulations. And the last one, Chair, would be on 10.1.10, which talks to the ICT area. There's a new one. The IT project should be aligned with and directed by the ICT strategic plan, which is in line with the department's objective. This suggests that there may be instances where IT projects are not currently aligned with the overall ICT strategy or department goals, and potentially leading to inefficiencies or misalignment with the department's strategic direction. Those are the proposals, Chair, with regard to the department.
Thank you, Honorable.
I stop there.
No, we're dealing with the department.
Yes.
Yes.
Then if you want me to proceed.
No, I want us to, in the department, there were other hands that were raised.
Thank you.
So I just want us to move so that we know we have completed a particular point.
No, that's fine, Chair.
Because there was Honorable Kondo and Honorable Kopane would then follow. Honorable Kondo? Honorable Kondo?
Yes, Chair. Am I audible?
Yes, you can now proceed. Yes.
Okay. Chair, we made an observation that the department, when it comes to investigations of fraud and other criminal activities, they become referee, player, second official, third official. We unofficially so recommended that other institutions should be involved where there is serious fraudulent allegations of serious fraudulent activities in the department. They can't investigate themselves. I don't know how to put it, Chair, but it goes with the accountability on 10.1.1 that it cannot be the officials amongst themselves that they are investigating each other. I think we must have a way of phrasing that so that we are able to capture that other law enforcement agencies should be involved when there are serious allegations of corrupt and fraudulent activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nkonto. Honorable Opani.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Mine are just on two items here, on compensation fund as well as CCMA. On compensation fund.
Okay, Honorable Opani.
Yes.
We just wanted to conclude on the department, and then we get, well, I note you already that you have that, into I will start with you when we get those ones. I just want us to conclude on the department, and then we get to the other, if there are points to raise there. So that by the time we finish the discussion, we don't go back to the top. If you so understand, that's fine. Honorable members, I take it that the points raised by Honorable Nonzele, as well as there's a point raised by Honorable Konto, which I know that's another commitment would have made, that we are going to come back and take a recommendation in that regard, the part of involving other agencies to get to the root of some of these fraudulent and suspicions of robbing activities that may be taking place. And there was a sense of also agreement with the department in this regard, that they themselves see the importance of not being a referendum player on everything. So may I, because I see that it's is it Selele or Seliga or Slepe? I'm not sure, but it's just that it's spelled different. Today, H Selele. I see a hand. It's just that I'm not sure who's the member there. Maybe wanted to speak on the department before we move on it.
Yes, Chair, it's Selele. Thank you.
Yeah, I know you to be Slepe. That's the problem. Then it's spelled as something else. Here.
Yeah,
So,
there's a mistake there. Yeah, I can see it's Selele.
okay.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, on the right hand note. Yeah. Chair, I've been struggling to get in here. The network here in Parliament is not as good as other days. We are really battling with the network. But mine was just two to three other points here. Like Chair, one, with regarding the department, how does the Department of Employment and Labour fulfill its extended mandate of employment if it is only gives effect to legislation that regulates labor matters and not to legislation that regulates the creation of employment? Then two, in terms of the inspection and enforcement services, the expenditure rate is 98%, 98.8%, but Given the harrowing evidence of outright physical abuse of workers by the employers, especially farm workers, how much of this budget expenditure lead actual arrest of employers, and how many employers were arrested during the financial year? Then the Auditor General findings that payments were not made within 30 days or agreed period after receiving of invoice. How many businesses were affected as a result, and how many employees lost their jobs due to the delayed payment invoices by the department? I thank you, Chair.
No, thank you, Honorable Sleb. At least now your name has been corrected. I'm sure the committee was missing you when you were with mining there. But the point really, Honorable members, is that we do agree with the beefing up of the recommendations as well as the alignment, now even with the department. Of course, we do note that some of the points members raised would be coming up in the other areas in the report, which are specific to a particular entity. So like I said, we'll then give space in that regard for the members that have got issues to raise there. But the other point I want to make, honorable members, just remember, we are now handling our own reports, so we're beefing up our own reports. So we're not engaging with the department, but instead we are now making our own recommendations on what needs to be done, having made observations in the department and the entities that report to the department. Let's just keep that in mind. And that once then we have the department led by the ministry coming before the committee, we'll then have an opportunity to ask direct questions on matters of the department and the ministry, and they will respond accordingly. So that will help our meeting just to be a bit focused in that this is going to be our report, and our recommendations are very important because once approved by the House, there will then be that expectation with the timelines as outlined that we'll have a feedback from the department on how they are responding to the recommendations I've made. So I take it that there's no objection, including the point about law enforcement agencies. It will just be a matter, Honorable Nkonto, of where we locate it properly within that point 10. But I think it's agreed, we were all in agreement as the committee members that that's one of the recommendations we're going to put forward. Can we then move to the next? Comment support. Can move. It seems you're not, it's not scrolling. Said you can move if there are no issues raised on SEE that we get to compensation fund. I think it's one of those Honorable Nkopane wanted to speak to.
Yes,
Honorable
thank you, Chair. Oh,
Honorable Nkopane.
oh, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. On compensation funds, Chair, our recommendation, if we look at 10.3.1, it encourages that we need to identify, the department needs to identify deficiencies early and act appropriately. Now, I would like us to look at the notes that I've written here, that is 10.3.2. Let me read from my notes. That performance management processes should be implemented across different levels of officials to ensure efficiency and financial discipline. So it shouldn't be just a pick and choose and selective process. There must be performance management process that is undertaken at different levels, so that no one should be a victim of a process that has been a challenging one or a selective challenge. So that is how I've written it here on my notes, 10.3.2.
Thank you, Honorable Kopane. Take note of that recommendation. May I then move to the other? I don't think there's an objection to that recommendation. We then move to the CCMA, and remember, I had also said, Honorable background, that you must look at the recommendations once we get there, whether you think it also covers the point that you've raised. Honorable Kopane, I'm not sure if it's a legacy hand before I address.
No, Chair, it's a new hand. It's a new hand on CCMA.
We're losing you, Chair.
Yes, you're
Can come in. Yeah, and I'm like Honorable Slap, I'm in Parliament, so I ran away from Acacia Park. But
yeah,
I hope you can hear me still.
Yeah, I hear you now, Chair.
Yeah, then yes, you can proceed, and then I will identify Honorable Nansele, recognize him after that. Honorable Kopane.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, I've just looked at the first recommendation. Yeah, that's a very short one on the Treasury guidelines, but I crafted something, Chair, that is giving us more on the input. Need to enhance performance. CCMA should conduct a thorough review of its budget allocation to identify areas where spending can be optimized, analyze the reasons behind the 9% shortfall in target achievement, to develop strategies to overcome barriers, and implement a robust monitoring and evaluation system to track progress and make timely adjustments. You remember, Chair, we're saying now we need to identify deficiencies early. So the amber signs and amber flags should be identified and be acted upon. That was my 10.4.1. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kopane, Honorable Nansele, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks again also to Honorable Kopane. On the point, just in support on the CCMA, the point I fully agree. I think I'm covered by Honorable Kopane, Honorable Chairperson. Sorry, Honorable Kopane. The point just I wanted maybe to add on that first formulation she is putting forward is that we should tie both the CCMA and the department so that the formulation reads CCMA and the Department of Employment and Labor. The reason being that the department remains principally responsible for the functioning of the CCMA, including looking or relooking its funding model. So in that regard, the proposal as formulated by Honorable Gopan should tie both the CCMA and the department. So it should read CCMA and DEL. Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Otherwise, I'm covered by Honorable Gopan. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Nansele. I'm not sure if Honorable Bahrain is still on the platform or he has lost connectivity, because I want us to pass the CMA, but I didn't want to close him out as I raised the point earlier. I take it that the point raised, which has now been beefed up by Honorable Nansele, doesn't take out that point on the surpluses completely out, but just to align it to observations, that will probably put it as a new 10.4.3. The one that says the CMA should follow applicable National Treasury guidelines to apply for retention of cash surplus. That was still able to do that, but it's 10.3. Then it will cover that point. Honorable Background.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. It's
Yes, you
almost, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes, yes, Benny.
Thank you. It does go some way to answering my point and to giving us some leeway. However, I'm not so sure that that's going to get results.
Not sure it's on my side, but your line seems bad.
It's very bad. My line bad. Wonder why. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Chair? No.
Continue, Honorable Bagram. We can hear you. Seemingly we have lost the chair.
Yes. Honorable Bagram. Honorable members, I think we've lost the chair. Honorable Bagram.
Excuse me.
Honorable Bagram is not responding.
Yes. Excuse me, honorable members. Noting that the honorable chairperson has a network connectivity challenge, I propose that Honorable Nonsele be on standby so that when the chair is not there, Honorable Nonsele should take up the task and carry on with the meeting. Thank you.
I take it that there will be no objection on that. Like I said, I'm in Parliament. I read away from my about thinking about connectivity. But I did hear, though, Honorable Bagram, that he was saying it would appear the points would have, it does go in a great way, the points made to cover the point that he was making. Then I lost him at that point because it was like it's him that I can't hear, and only to find out the system is about to kick me out. So in that score, we can then proceed. Can we proceed?
Honorable Chair, are you proceeding now to the next
Connectivity.
item? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
No, I'm saying we move from CCMA to the next. On my side, I see that we are on productivity SA.
Yes, Chair, I've raised my hand.
I do not see the hand on my side. Now I see the hand.
It's myself and Honorable Bagram.
Yes, I'm not sure if Honorable Bagram is and whether it's still that Lucas one or not. I thought it's a Lucas one, but let me allow you, Honorable Nonsede.
Mine isn't a legacy hand. I apologize.
Thank you. Honorable Nonsede, you are recognized. You can proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, on the issue of productivity SA, want to just to firm up the proposal so that we cover the areas of concern that we have raised with regard to how the entity functions, so that also we cover critical aspects that in some respects have led to the entity being embroiled in some of the matters that I may not elaborate on, given that they are still subject to other processes of law. My proposal, Chair, with regard to 10.5.1 would be to propose to the reformulation as follows. That is to improve overall performance. The entity should conduct a thorough review of its strategies and operations and identify areas for enhancements and implement targeted improvements to address any shortcomings. That is the first one, Honorable Chair. On 10.5.2, the intention here also is about addressing issues relating to funding and accountability. It would read as follows: engage with legal experts to review and strengthen the legal strategy, aiming to mitigate the risk of unfavorable legal outcomes. Develop a comprehensive financial plan, including contingency funds to prepare for potential increases in post-retirement medical aid costs. Explore alternative benefit structures and negotiate with medical aid providers to find more cost-effective solutions. This has to do with the internal arrangements within the entity, Chair, so that the shortcomings currently experienced in terms of their report are fully addressed. Then on 10.5.3, productivity it would read as follows: Productivity SA should continue pursuing the matter of developing a single source funding model to ensure that the mandate of the Productivity SA is funded through Section 12 of the Employment Services Act, read together with Section 40A of the Employment Services Act. The point here, Chair, again, is to bring sustainability of the entity, given that in terms of their report, they in fact have serious challenges with regard to how they fund their programs and sustain the entity. Finally, on 10.5.4, it would read as follows: to address capacity constraints of the research unit, the entity must explore partnership with institutions of higher learning, whereby it provides practical research experience and internship to recently qualified graduates. The point here, Chair, again, is to propose that the entity should in fact be creative enough, given the area where it operates in within the industry, that it can in fact easily facilitate partnerships for itself on the one part, but also ensure that those partners, such as institutions of higher learning, benefit. That is by assisting graduates to be placed as interns in the institutions where they are providing support in terms of productivity goals. So those are the points that, Chair, I would propose with regard to Productivity SA. Thank you, Chair. Again, I would submit the writing, the notes, if the recording secretary has not captured properly. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nontsele. I take it that there's no objection on those reformulations. If there are no further points, I'll then ask that we now go to the NETLEC. Okay, Honorable Maezo, before that, Honorable Maezo.
Thank you, Chair. Am I audible?
Yes, can you?
Yes, Chair. Perhaps let me just indicate to you that I'm engaging on the NETLEC.
Okay, so we are now then on NETLEC. You can proceed.
Yes. No, Chair, just to take the cue of what Honorable Nontsele was contributing towards the report, I thought that it will also be equally important that I also follow footsteps to directly go straight to the 10.6.3 as far as the formulation, the report itself. If we can then, I will propose that we rephrase this 10.6.3 to be formulated as follows: to sustain the improvement and address the regular expenditure. The entity should also the entity should strengthen its procurement processes, ensure compliance with policies, and implement robust internal controls to prevent future occurrences of non-compliance. Chair, I think this formulation will then assist this report as the portfolio committee to ensure that there is a proper implementation in as far as our recommendations are concerned. And like I said, Chair, I will also submit, in case that the portfolio secretary could not capture what I've said, I will submit the writing proposal for recording purposes. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Maiso. Any other input on that recommendations? I take it that one, there's no objection to it, as it addresses the point that whilst to have a clean audit, however, there was this matter on quotations that was that arose. So to address that. If there are no further points there, I take it that on the part of the appreciation, there is no objection in having that there. With that having been said, honorable members, this is, as we said, this is the first draft in terms of the report. We'll then give the opportunity to the committee support staff, that's the secretary, content advisors, and the researcher, to look at those formulations in that score, and then we are able to get briefed later in that score. Honorable Kopane, I'm not sure if it's a legacy hand or you left a point that we thought should be included, and it's not included.
Yes, Chair. To follow suit with the honorable members that have raised the restructuring and the wording of our recommendations, in case our Hansard has not captured well, or there is a need for the Secretariat to be assisted, then I will submit also the changes that I proposed to the Secretariat, Chair.
Am I audible?
Yes, Chair, you are.
Okay, I just want to be sure because it was like no. Honorable members, I've heard Honorable Kopane also committing to send the notes that she was having with her. But I just want us to, so that the meeting in the evening, it's an easy meeting, that there were proposals made so that the meeting can then focus in the main on whether those proposals have been captured properly. The committee support will just have to highlight those, you know, the color coding of some sort, so that we know it is the contributions that were made in the morning and that they are included. So that once approved, they then become part of the document. So it will then help us in that we will not be going through the document like we have done now, but we'll be going straight to those areas and then present that for the report for consideration of the committee to adopt and be able to send it through. The time, as far as I know, it's 19 hours is the expected time, understanding that there is a house sitting expected to finish around 6, and there's traveling in between, hence we would look at 19 hours. Where members still have challenges, please you would indicate with the committee support, because it is important that we we are a coordinating meeting, not just from a point of proceeding, but coordinating in the sense of a report being able to be adopted by a properly constituted meeting that can make a decision. That's the 50+1 members in the meeting. So please, let's prioritize that. As you would be aware, we had to agree to the Wednesday because a number of members were not going to be able to attend on a Friday. So let's just get our reports then in that score adopted. Honorable Nkonto, I take it that you would keep in mind that formulation in case it was not, if it is in the notes, you'll also do the same. But like I said, it may just be on 10.1 or 10.2 for consequences, but we still need to capture the essence of that recommendation. So I'm just saying that you can also send, if you can, to the secretary. Otherwise, we would still capture it in the way we understood the deliberations we had as the committee when we had that oversight. So feel free to do so. Honorable members, I take it that on this item, at least we have clarity. May I just check committee support, whether this would have been the last item or you have something to raise to members?
Yes, Chair. No, that was the last item for now, Chair, until we meet again at 7. Yes, Chair, that's all. I would like just to ask the request, plead with members to send their formulations immediately after this meeting so that we can start working on them, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. No, thanks. Honorable members, then that concludes the business for our meeting this morning. The meeting, therefore, is officially adjourned until we meet at 19 hours, as we will be continuing with our meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
Recording stopped.
Hello, guys. Portia, Sbo, can you please leave the meeting because I need everybody to be out of the meeting so that I can keep the link. Can you exit the meeting so that I'm able to keep this link? I can't end the meeting now until everybody is out. Hey, abantu abeva ke.